go ahead and get started. Don't you think, Edwin?
Yeah, sure.
Perfecto. So hello, everybody. Happy Friday. Gosh, the days all run together. It's great to have everyone here and see some familiar faces. I come up with the idea that I wanted to just to have this opportunity to share and ideas and brainstorm what other people were doing in my area. And so reached out, and this roundtable came to be. My name's Missy Daffron. I've been at Duke for many years, 23 years specifically. Most of those years just teaching in the physical education department, but in the past couple of years, jumped into sponsorships and development, and have been really taking this role and growing. My colleague, who is amazing, I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell a little bit about himself, and then we'll jump in and talk sponsorship and development. Edwin.
Oh, hello, everybody. Again, happy Friday or Sunday. I don't know what day is it. My name is Edwin Molina. I am the IT specialist for Duke Recreation and Physical Education. I've been part of the team for almost 3 years, and my focus is in not only supporting our staff in all the technology needs, but also helping the different departments with innovation and facilitating their use of technology for their goals. I have been in the IT business from corporate, from national to multinational corporations, independent, small colleges, and even the chair's office for over 20 years.
So we have some years on us, Edwin. I just want to remind everybody that they're recording this, and also that we have the chat feature. So if you have questions, the goal is, it is a roundtable to talk and share ideas and collaborate and just ask questions so we can all learn and grow and have a good experience. When we talk about sponsorships and we talk about development, the first thing that I really want to see is how many people offer or have sponsorship and development in your programs, in your recreation program. So if you would just share your name and what school you're from in the chat so we can see that, and also say, thumbs up, we have sponsorship and development, or you were interested, or just so we can get an idea of kind of where we're all at when it comes to this. Take a second to do that.
You can use
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can use the Zoom bar on the reaction buttons in below. And when you click on reaction, you can click a thumbs up to indicate if you guys have a program. Whoop, some thumbs are coming up. That's good.
Yeah, this is perfect. So with our program, I just want to tell you a little bit about how we came to be. Specifically at Duke, we are part of athletics. And being part of athletics means that we have the role of following what they do. So for many years, we were covered by IMG, which is now Learfield, but we were able to break away and start our own sponsorship program about 4 years ago, going on 5 years ago. And so our program was a grassroots program. We have a phenomenal, amazing director. Her name is Felicia Tittle, and she's just a mastermind of around a lot of things that have really helped our department grow. When we started, or when she arrived, I believe we were at like 2 or 3 full-time employees, and now we're almost at 30. So, I mean, as a leader, she's not paying me to say all this, but as a leader, she is phenomenal. And so she had this idea for us to have, as a department, our own sponsorship program. And so specifically, what I hear from her is, hey, you guys, we have to really think about what we are going to do to bring in funds. How are we going to have a revenue stream? Because what we look at is a lot of our programs across the country are specifically fee-based, from student fees or membership fees. And if we look now, are we able to even get those? And I know that's on down, right, Edwin, when we talk about the COVID era that we're in right now. But even like 5 years ago, the vision that she had for us is, okay, let's start a sponsorship program. So we did. We started the grassroots, and there was no manual. There was no person that came in and consulted us. We just, the two of us just started putting marketing material together, researching. I come from franchising and corporate world, and just really trying to make it work for us. And it definitely, it has grown. And then when we talk about development, and we could talk about how there's the sponsorship and the development really are two things. Development is about, raising dollars through donors and also developing your program. Sponsorship is more like what we would say specifically when we think about, our return on investment and things like that. It really is more transactional, but we'll talk about making it more specific in the relationship, a transaction in the beginning, but growing and developing so that we can have that long-term, more revenue partnership. So we work together. I'm curious, Edwin, do we have any questions or thoughts?
So far, we don't have any questions, but I have a nice comment from Colin Allison in Santa Clara University. She mentioned that they're just getting the sponsorship program approved in campus when COVID hit. So mentioned that it's taking kind of a backseat. And I would like to hear more from Colin.
Perfect.
So hi, this is Colin over at Santa Clara University. So throughout the year, we've kind of going through and identifying the menu items, or so to speak, that we would kind of be looking to have sponsorships added to, and what type of proposals and charges we would have for that. So we had just finalized our proposal, and it was going up the administration chain March 8th, I want to say. Then 8 days later, our campus closed due to the shelter-in-place orders from Santa Clara County. So it's kind of taken a backseat, and every time we ask, like, what's the update on it, they kind of tell us that they're working on some other things right now.
When I read that, what it came to mind to me is like the basic definition that Missy was mentioning about the difference between sponsorship and development. To me, and I'm an outsider, so I'm in tech, I don't know about sports, but to me, sponsorship is kind of like a transaction. Like, oh, if you give me this money, I can put your logo here, or I can present your product, and the business or the individuals can go, it's like, what's my return of investment? How many eyeballs can I see? How many clicks can I get? How many visits to my business can I have? And in this era of COVID-19, I will agree with the university, administration saying, like, this have to take a back seat. But development is about creating that relationship in which it's like the experience. I mean, coming from a non-sports person, I could say, you can play basketball anywhere, but the difference of playing basketball in rec is that experience, that you have the right equipment, that you feel like a winner, that referees are available, that if you have questions, somebody will help you. So you can use this opportunity as starting the targets that you were seeing as potential sponsors to start reaching to them and connecting them maybe with your university's mental and health opportunities. It's like, hey, if you're having your employees, maybe you want to tap on these free resources. So they start seeing you not as a transactional partner, but as a true identity. Hey, I want to identify myself with you and create that loyalty. So when it comes time to, hey, we passed this, I want to reach to your wallet, they go, it's like, yeah, why not? You are
so true.
You are a true partner.
I think that's, I think that's really, just to jump in too and share. So the development piece of it, what we at Duke, I feel like it's really something that in the past year I've focused on and have really tried to engage in building those relationships with all the different alum and parents and you know, faculty that really have a connection to Duke, and you know, have said and do say freely, you know, this is the best experience I had. It could be, you know, a physical education class with one of our amazing instructors, Maria or Sherry or any of them. They're all amazing. But, you know, for students to have this and to leave and, or to be there and say, this is, you know, the memorable experience. What we see is in philanthropy, and what we, you know, think about is giving back to things that you see or find value that are really, you know, changing the world. It's not just, we're not just a gym. We are definitely, we're an organization that really serves the community, and the community, not just the campus with the grounds of us around at Duke, but the campus at large, the community with, you know, and Edmund and I could go on and on, but, you know, adaptive climbing, bringing people from the community, from, you know, public schools. And, you know, a lot of us do these things, but then can we go back and say, you know, could you start an endowment for, you know, financial aid for something? So guess what? People will say yes. The challenge sometimes is, you know, is the ask, you know, and, you know, in order to do the ask, if you're new or just starting or thinking about development, mainly a lot of times people will say with their universities, oh, well, you know, central development, those guys, that's what their job is. But guys, it's our job too. If we want our department to grow, it's our job too to look at how we can do that. I'd be curious, how many of you have not necessarily central development, unless there's an officer specifically assigned to you, but have, you know, started taking your historical members or alum and, you know, doing campaigns? Are there any of you that have done that or are doing that? Share with us. I'd love to hear your ideas.
Hey, Missy, this is James Alexander over at Loyola Chicago. How are you?
Great, thanks.
I've been a little lucky in that one of our alumni relations officers, a younger guy, is a former rugby player at Loyola Chicago. And so he actually has come up with and approached us with the idea of not just specifically trying to engage alumni for rugby, which, you know, obviously kind of in his wheelhouse there, but really doing it for all of club sports and trying to make that a bit of a campaign for the entire club sports program.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, that was before all of this stuff hit, so I'm not really sure, you know, where that has landed now on the priority list anymore. But, you know, for us, it's been great because he's working towards engaging alumni across the board. We've provided him with membership rosters from previous years, and so that way, you know, he can then reach out and contact and do some of those sort of things and try to make those contacts that can help further the idea of development within the program.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, and something to kind of tag on to that, that we've been doing here is taking our contact list, our alumni list, our donor list, to family and friends, and, you know, even during this time, and doing wellness calls and, you know, checking in with them, not asking them for anything, but just seeing how they are. And then, you know, specifically sharing with them the resources that we have. And so the website, we have like 3 really great resources that the university is offering as far as COVID-19 is, and places they can go for mental health and wellness. And so I think that if you could even do that, like take it a step farther and take your list, your database, and specifically engage with them. I think something that Edwin and I were talking about earlier today is, you know, when we're at home now, what can we be doing as far as sponsorship growth and development growth? And a couple of things that come to mind, like specifically, engaging and, educating ourselves, but our staff, and, really trying to build the culture so that we're all on board. I think sometimes in our world of big recreation programs, it's like, oh, well, that's Edwin's job, he's going to do that, or that's Missy's job, she's going to make sure I have, the food for this event, or, raising the money for this project. But, really just trying to find ways, and I know it's unprecedented times, thinking, okay, revenue ways that we can all be a part of, and we can all get the buy-in, specifically from our whole team. So it's just not just one person on the Duke Rec and PE team that is an ambassador for us and for what our goals are. And it's the whole team. It's all 30 of us. And so doing that also, specifically, with sponsorships, one thing that I have done is, just the partnership that we've developed and grown over the years. I mean, those are friends of mine. I call them, how are you? What's going on? I saw that you've closed 2 stores because someone has COVID. Just really, I care about them. That relationship, those relationships are important to me. And I think that really shows the success that we've been able to gain, specifically. Are there any questions, Edwin? Because I can keep.
No, I would like to add something on that.
Yes.
This is Randall Ford from UT Austin, and I guess I've been at UT Austin for almost 28 years, mainly on the program side, but recently moved over to the development team, and we have been blessed with a 100-year record of our intramural champions in photographs and history.
Wow.
So our development program started probably about 13 years ago in 07 or 08. And we have been extremely fortunate. We started collecting those intramural champion and runner-up names, and really used that to kick off our development and fundraising program. We have done a couple of campaigns, had a 100-year anniversary celebration a couple of years ago, helped fundraise to renovate our intramural fields. And probably, probably the most dynamic part of the program has been our alumni have really become interested in endowing scholarships for our rec sports employees.
Wow.
And now we have 15 endowments that award, that produce 17 awards, and over $35,000 in scholarship money went back to our student employees just this past year. So we're probably more advanced than a lot of other schools, but lucky to have that base of intramural champions to really start from and build on.
Do you mind sharing how much revenue that's been? Because I think it's so important for us to hear, like, this successful program, how much, like, overall you guys have raised?
Probably would lean on some of my colleagues on this in this session right now, that number. If anybody could help. Jen?
Okay, so our scholarships, this is Jennifer Speer, fortunate enough to be Randall's boss and head of our development team at UT Austin. Our scholarships are just under $1 million in the bank in terms of the corpus of all those endowments. Okay. And then our sponsorship program is a very active sponsorship program. We budget nearly $500,000 a year through sponsorships. And that is mostly cash. We don't do a lot of things for in kind. So that is some lease agreements, because we have some different corporations in our facilities, some rev share, and then we have a very active sponsorship program with IMG, now Learfield, that has been very successful for us since 2015.
And what's your student population? I think it's important sometimes for us to be, like, mindful.
Enrollment, or 53,000?
53,000. Yeah. And so is that undergrad or grad or both? Both 53,000. So we're about here, about 9,000, right, Edwin? How many? So I think that,
more or less.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when, that is phenomenal. So your lease agreement is for some of the equipment contract is sponsored or in
It's
kind.
revenue generation, so it counts as sponsorship dollars for us.
Yes, perfect. That's awesome. I'll follow up with you and ask some more specific questions about who those people are and how that's working, because I think that that's really important. That kind of brings me to one thought too, that in the beginning, what I think that with our sponsorship that is, so important is selectivity. So what I mean by that is, I don't want people coming in just passing out a bunch of, tampons or whatever it is, deodorant or this or that. And, sending the box and, my colleagues are like, look at this is great. For me, that's not great. I feel like each student has a value, and that value is, helps us grow. So being selective, having your sponsorship program set up nights so that you can say, oh, you want to, table and give out, this is how much that opportunity is. So the opportunities all have different costs to them. Is that how you guys have it broken down, Jennifer?
We actually do not have a menu like many schools, I think, have gone down that route. We have a list of assets, but there are no prices on them because every corporation that we work with come in with different budgets, and we've learned from experience that you can sell yourself very short. So for instance, one of our big events, Party on the Plaza, which is our big back to school event, we'll have a vendor who paid $7,500 to be there. And then we'll have a vendor that might've paid $30,000 because it's a national account and they have that kind of money. So we don't shop numbers when we are talking to our corporations and our corporate sponsors. We kind of talk about what assets are available and then see kind of where
their budget is.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's great advice for me to remember too, because I just got an email earlier today. I was telling Edwin this, that someone was asking me, I see your opportunity booklet on your website and I see, your menu, but there's no prices. So how do we know how much it is? And that's, by design. And the idea is definitely, I want to have a conversation and see where they are and what they want. And I think that, we can do that even better. And like you said, not cut ourselves short. And when opportunities come our way, sometimes people will say to me, because we have the Wenmo organization, that's the company where we do research, or I do research and find different companies and reach out to people in that company. Does anyone else on the call use Wenmo? I'd be curious to see who did use Wenmo and have a conversation to see how that is. It's our first year. It's for us a huge investment. And my goal, of course, is to pay for the investment, but moving forward to have and to get lots of great, valuable information. Did anybody say they did? I'm just taking a look at the chat. That's Wenmo. So Wenmo gives me names and phone numbers and information about corporations and their decision makers, and specifically that sometimes, I've connected with someone, they'll come back to me and they'll say, this is how much we have this is our budget, this is what we want to pay to come to campus. And I'll say, you know what, that's not going to work for us because, this is this many days, this is, of people that you're going to expose the product to. So I need this much. And it's all about negotiation and feeling okay if they say, no, are you feeling positive on what your product is and your population so that you can have the sale? Because to be honest with you, I mean, we have, I know for us at Duke, not only the number of students, but our students have money to spend. They are definitely, someone had said recently, I was on a call, well, Missy, you don't understand. All of our students, are on limited income. All of ours are. Yes, we have students that are on financial aid, but they're not. A lot of them do have expendable income, and, branding and product recognition is something that is, really valuable and can, for companies to really to take notice to for us and our universities. I was just gonna see, does anybody else utilize Winmo? No? Interesting.
Missy, if you can put the Winmo information in the chat.
Okay, not right this second. Yeah, but yeah. I can. It's actually, you know, the website is Winmo and I believe .com. But you can reach out to me and I'll definitely send you my contact there. And it's www.winmo.com, WINMO. And I can do that actually, just pulling it up here. So what's some other?
Hi, Missy.
Yes.
Hi, Missy. How you doing? My name's Adam Pruitt. I'm at the Facebook Fitness Center. I'm the general manager there. But prior to this, I was in college, university, recreation at UCLA and a few other institutions. So sponsorship and development has kind of been at the heart of my kind of what I've obviously had a lot of fun with. I know like we have a lot of resources. Jennifer spoke to a lot of things she's put in, and Emily Hughes at NIRSA headquarters has always been a phenomenal resource there too. But we use, I mean, obviously our business model is different here at Facebook. So we've used Salesforce to be able to help with some of our CRM ability to be able to kind of manage that as well. But I just wanted to see if I can shift the conversation. I'm very curious to hear how many of you are trying to manage and maintain your relationships with your vendors, with your sponsors in this kind of COVID period. What have been some of the challenges and kind of what have been some of the new deals that you potentially have to kind of create and organize based on kind of the situation we're in now and potentially what we're going to be looking forward to going into the fall, as we usually try to get ramped up for sponsorships into the fall. Now we're looking at these things differently. And like I said, my model is a little different, but we do have some sponsorships in different formats here at Facebook, but I'd like to kind of see what that looks like and what everybody kind of challenge, what they're facing right now.
Yeah, Chalman. I'm going to just say for us at Duke, and I'll let Edwin talk about what we're doing technology-wise, but at Duke, we've been mandated of no ask. So as far as development, I can't, you know, all we're doing is fostering relationships. Like I said, the wellness calls for donors and just that our population there for that specifically. What we've done and what we've been thinking about for sponsorship, do you want to chime in, Edwin, and talk about some of our initiatives, and then we can see what other people are doing, maybe our signature, our QR, our video, our web. You want to?
Well, right now, what we're doing is trying to create that experience and creating solid relationship. Currently, we have a relationship with Microsoft and multiple levels. Currently, we are, through NIRSA, we are working on the deployment and use of Microsoft Teams as communication software. We were going to be part of a program with them in a partnership to showcase the product to the students when COVID-19 sent everybody home. So we shifted gears and pushed a platform for internal communication with our staff. And from there, we start using that platform to create a stronger relationship with on-campus partners at that level. Not only to help them, but also to put them in their mind that REC exists, which it can be something that when people are thinking sponsorships or relationship, they don't think also internally, because you want other departments, other programs to put, hey, REC is a great experience. So when they talk to the students or they are creating programs, they keep us in mind. We also we have been developing relationships with esports management software, Mission Control, in which we started helping them formulate their beta program. And right now we are running some leagues through our intramural programs, which have been very well received. And right now they're in the process of creating the second league and expanding. So that gives an added value to not only the students, but a prospective playground of how we can reach more people, which brings an added value to potential sponsors. And it gives material for donors to see, hey, rec is reaching and is using the communities and the tools that are available at COVID-19. We're doing the same thing with the fitness programs as we reach not only our students, but general population. And we have plans to see how we can create different things and different avenues to reach the community, which again, it's fertile ground. So when you talk to a potential sponsor or developer, that they see a value that we know is there, but it's not evident. And I think that is a very important tool. Finally, we are trying to establish the use of technology to facilitate the reach for our sponsors and our potential partners with ease. For example, we're going to start implementing the new staff signature for emails to facilitate communication that has a link to our giving site that we have created with partnership with Duke Giving. Also, we are trying to implement the use of interactive materials, first with QR codes that will take us to the giving side or show pictures or take to the sponsor side, and then implement those in innovative ways, not only in posters, but also in letters. But how cool will be when we come back to normal, we create t-shirts that those have, for example, QR codes that add content. So this is a t-shirt that you really value. So sponsors, again, see more value on that. And then eventually move to other heavier, more technologically savvy or, solutions like augmented reality or reaching digital media.
Let's see who else wants to share what they're doing during these times to connect with sponsors. The other thing as far as connecting with sponsors is, through our marketing department, a lot of our sponsors who are open, local businesses and things, they have initiatives where they're, feeding the frontline workers, and they're also involved in the public schools and feeding those children and doing those different things. So just making sure that I'm being an active partner with our sponsors, so that the things that they're initiating and doing, that I'm making sure that we're putting that in our social media. And sometimes people will say, oh, well, they didn't purchase that, or that's not part of their package. But the way that I see it is, the more business and the more opportunities I can give to my sponsors or our sponsors and partners, that just is going to really pay off in the long run. I think that when we think about specific sponsorships and what we're doing and how we're doing it now, and what are we doing as far as asking. I'm looking and doing my research, and a lot of people were saying, we have a hiring freeze. We're not even talking about sponsorship dollars. So moving forward, it's going to be challenging and difficult. And for us, a lot of our opportunities involve our facilities. We have our digital signs. We have the radio, where we have ads on the radio. We have printed material. For example, our program guides, and of course, all of that is on the web. And some of our have logos on the web, but how can I fulfill obligations to them that they have paid for, without them having, asking us for a refund? Of course, we could say push it into next year, and just really looking at, and Edwin's been really good about that, to say, let's do this for them, or let's let's try to work this out. What about you guys? Go ahead, Evan.
Yeah, I was going to say that Connor brought that question a little earlier in terms of, sponsorship program in the COVID-19 era. How are they have been impacted and how they have changed, if any? And I will add to their comment, what of the future? And I can give you an example of, the work that we're doing with Microsoft and Microsoft Teams, how we initially was a program to reach for students. It's basically what Microsoft had in mind is how can we use rec to approach students in the clubs, intramurals, to connect and enjoy the sport that they have with how to communicate better using Microsoft Teams. And once COVID came in, we talked to them and we changed focus. And the duties that we had, they changed. So we start training the staff, we start communicating, and then we became facilitators to other divisions. So we start talking about athletics and how they were using in the university, the Office of Information Technology. And then when my dealings with the multicultural affairs and gender diversity and with the Duke University Union, then my relationships with Duke Gaming, which is the student organization, and introducing that software. And then going back to our partner and, just saying, hey, this is what we're doing that is beyond the scope, but we're malleable. So when you have the next opportunity, keep us in mind because we are doing the networking and we really enjoy working with you. And I think that is something that at your sponsorship development, you should create like experience. And in a lot of places, they're talking about the death of the mall because everybody now can buy online, and those who didn't before, now they have to, so they see the convenient. So if you have a retail store, what are you offering? And that experience is what makes the people come back. So at this moment, this is the chance that we have to create that link, that partnership, that bridge. And let me help you. Let me get you out of the hole. Let's work on this. This is a kind of cool idea. And then when things return to normal, then we will both know that our potential partner, ourselves, are in good standing. And then we can go, okay, how can we grow this? And can you help us with money? And we will help you with, advertisement or placement or showcase.
It's true. So the thing too, you're talking about all of this, Edwin, it's all about relationships and it's all about networking. And NIRSA and Emily, that's been amazing. The opportunities, there's been a couple that we weren't able to be a part of. And I'm like, man, my first answer is always yes. And I always see the glass half full. And, I'm always like, let's find a way. I am a one-man show. I mean, yes, we definitely have an amazing executive director and the team is awesome. And Edwin and his expertise with IT, but, sponsorship development are huge. And so what I would recommend also is, really finding your people. And I say your people on campus, like Edwin was saying, all the different departments. I'm doing that as well with NIRSA. I have colleagues, at Wake Forest. Connor stepped on board, and Becca, who was a great a colleague, and she is a consultant now, was with a firm that we've worked with, and just really trying to network as much as possible. Put yourself out there. Some people say that going to events and being part of different things like the Chamber of Commerce or whatever alumni events, I think it's all about networking. Now, I know we can't go to these things now, but like I think when we talk about what we're doing, one thing that I have done is a couple of happy hours with our donors, some of our donors, and that's that's been fun. On Fridays, we've had 2 of those and good laughs. It's more challenging to do those with the sponsors because most of them are actively working, and it is a bit of a different relationship, but really thinking how we can take this technology, this Zoom that I never even heard of it before, 8 weeks ago, and now I'm like Zooming all the time, except I'm not Zooming in my car anymore. But I'll say, gosh, to my husband, I had 5 Zooms today, and he's like, okay. But really having, the communication of, how can we connect better with our sponsors, and how can we build those relationships so we can make the ask when the time is right, and being sensitive to that when it is right. What other questions do you guys want to talk about? And because I can keep talking, as well as Edwin, even more and more.
Hi, Missy. This is Yvette Damon. I'm the Manager of Engagement and Partnerships at University of Arizona. And it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily a question, but I thought I'd touch just a little bit on some of the things that we're doing with our sponsors, and specifically what we call partners. We've really tried to switch that word from sponsorship to partnership, and keep it very separate from development, coming from donors. But we have a certain level of sponsors that I would say run between 8 and 10, depending on the time of year, and just kind of making a real personal effort to talk to them and explain what we do know and what we don't know, letting them know that, we will have those make goods as the opportunities arise. Many of them are under multi-year contracts, and so trying to figure out new ways to kind of hold tight during this time until we know what events look like, whether that's the fall or even the spring.
Good.
And then with so much, with the recreation movement and moving to online programming, we've offered them some sponsor spots on online programming where we're saying, this workout was brought to you, by so-and-so who's been a loyal partner, and not so much that their sponsorship product ties directly to that workout, but that they are remaining a supporter of campus recreation and making sure that the people that are participating in our online programming know that we've got some people that are sticking with us during this challenging time, I would say. And then moving to online and social media and things like that, where some of them did not necessarily have social media written into their contract, but as more stuff has switched to virtual, bringing them into that. And then lastly, we had our end of year award ceremony, and we did a curbside pickup of a swag bag. So sponsors gave us things, and students who were still in town were able to come and pick up a swag bag from us, masked and gloved, of course, but they were able to come and get stuff from our sponsors, again, that were still tied to us during this time. So I just wanted to share some of that as we kind of, we don't know what will happen to kind of extending contracts. Like you said, we can always say push it into next year, but just to try and keep it somewhat active and somewhat in contact during this time while we're in a wait and see.
Definitely. Those are great ideas. Who else has some good stuff to share? Let's talk about let's talk about this QR code idea, masterminded by Edwin. We do have a slide, and I want to tell you, when he brought it up, I was thinking, gosh, we don't really use that at all, but QR codes specifically. But we don't in America, but they do overseas. So specifically, I know that my director, Felicia, she had shared with me that when she was there at the Duke in China campus, Kushan, that she experienced that everywhere she goes, everywhere she went, they paid with the QR code, and specifically they use the QR code for information and and advertising. And so Edwin's idea, and taking off with it, the idea that I have is I think that it could be great for sponsors. Like I said, our population is really, we do have international students. One of our values is inclusivity. And so, you know, really wanting to always think about what are different things that we can do and how can we do it to include everyone. And if we start, you know, putting these in our emails, or putting these on marketing material, you know, t-shirts and different things like that, it's just another way, because people will walk around, especially students, and just like, what is that? Let me see. And then if it takes them to specifically the website, or maybe a coupon for one of your partners. So if you, would it work, Edwin, if we took out our phone and held it up to that?
That QR code will take you to.
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna see what it. I've done this.
Spot.
Yeah.
Well, the thing of the QR code is that the QR code is the evolution of the barcode that you see in the products when you go to the supermarket. And right now, because it's open source, it can be read by any phone built from 2014 and on, without any other need for apps. And you can have them present a number, present a link to a website. You can show pictures and videos. You can do a lot of stuff. So you can consider it like the poor man version of the augmented reality. So that should be like a basic level. You can print them on paper, you can print them on glass, you can print them on cups and t-shirts, keychains, you name it. And the thing is that the power of that QR code can transcend just buy my product. So for example, let's say that you are using the idea that Yvette was saying, like she was helping some of their partners with social media, even if it was not under contract. So she could create a QR code that will take them to their partner side for a like, which in the digital world is currency for them. So creating that and sending it in an email to the partner, hey, we created this one for you. If you want to use it, it will set, you know, a like, so they can use it as they see fit. So it's something that literally it just few clicks to do. You can add other information. So the vision for us is to eventually create kind of like a brand for development, for giving, which includes a QR code. Just like we print our sponsors' logos on our t-shirts to eventually have that brand recognized. So the freshman student that doesn't have any economic pool sees that, scan it, and learns that all that we do is not free, and just plants the seed of acknowledgement and power. As they see all the QR codes, they learn to scan, and they see pictures or videos or better explanations, and they always have their phone, so they are always looking for that next QR code, or what is the next surprise that rec will have. And our potential sponsors and other partners can see that interaction, that curiosity, that innovation. So that could be part of the package that we offer. And eventually, once those students graduate, become alumni, and they're professional, they may have some resources. They understand that we need money. So when we are asking for resources or of any type, not only financial, they can see, okay, they have always asked for help. This is my experience have been great. Let me help the next generation. So using the technology is, to me, is more than just the basic use, like the avenue or facilitate, but also planting the seed for the future. How can we create this consciousness to this new technologically savvy generation of students that always have their phone, or I always have, you know, a mobile wearable device, that all these programs don't come free. This is not magic money. And that way they can create their own ideas. Like, for example, I was talking to Missy, how about some students decide, hey, let's make a charity run to get more adaptive climbing gear for us to share with our visitors. And they can create a small campaign guided by Missy and the Duke Giving side, and then we can use a shallow goal, let's say $1,000, use QR codes and use that as a practice. It helps the students to learn how to do this for their future, but also it helps the staff that every little bit counts, and that creating the connections with other entities, it's valuable.
Definitely.
The other thing that we did before was with the signature, and this is the signature that we will implement across all the staff fairly soon. And it has our typical information, but it has the interactive buttons, and we had them this before, but we have added the giving button, and this is a live button, and when you click on it, it will open your browser and it will take you to the Duke Giving site, in which you can create you know, a donation of any amount, or we can follow different campaigns. And from this is with Missy's partnership with Duke Giving in terms of creating the site and making sure that the links are appropriate. So those are two things that we are starting to try to move, to hopefully use, so we can reach our partners and facilitate their needs, and ask to share those capacities. So once we go back to normality, then there's this rapport and this relationship that have been built.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say we have a few minutes left. Please, if you have anything you want to share, or any questions you would like to have answered, and definitely let's chat about it. But as far as development, sponsorship, and what's going to happen, or how things will be, someone said to me, gosh, is it kind of slow for you now? And definitely for me, it's not slow. It's really busy. I feel like I have so many projects and things that I'm wanting to do and to follow up on, in order to steward what gifts we've been given, just so that we can hope for the continuation of that, and connecting with alum and staff and students, because I feel like at the end of the day, what we have and what we offer has so much value, and is so important. The wellness and how we're impacting people and bringing joy, and just finding a way to do that, like I said before. And when it comes to what we're doing, it's all about relationships. It's all about connecting to people and building our portfolios and networks, and one by one. Some of you said that you're just starting, and just starting is the first step. And then when I hear Jennifer and Randall, like, they are doing like amazing things with their development program, but for us, it's all again, just learning and growing and hearing and sharing ideas, so that we can do more. I do believe it will be a different norm for us when we go back, and specifically, how that is, maybe a little bit questionable for the next 6 to 12 months. But eventually, we're going to have a vaccine. We're all going to be back enjoying, sport clubs and, making those memories and intramural sports and outdoors and fitness and all those things. For now, we keep building those strong relationships so that we can, build our value. Did anyone ask anything?
I have a question. This is Anthony from Central Arkansas. So with the QR code, do you see that whether culture, because you mentioned it wasn't, it was another country where you had seen that. Do you think that that's something that has to keep building here where more and more Americans would use that? And then two, what about across generations, like older alumni or donors where they're not, let's just be honest, not always tech savvy?
Yeah, I will say that, the QR codes have existed for a long time. And the reason why it's very popular in Asia is because the web addresses are really hard to type and because the characters don't translate. So they tend to be very, very, very long and complicated. And so using a barcode started hey, you can just scan this and be good. And now they use the QR code to expand. A lot of people know what a QR code is in not only the younger generation, but middle generation, but they may not use it every day. But it's something that you can combine. Like, for example, let's say that you make a poster and about, I don't know, an event that you have, a 5K run, and then you put the QR code there and say, scan the QR code for videos. That is like super blatantly explained. So when I see that poster, I see that it's a 5K run. I know what is it, and it's fine. But I see the QR code and I take my phone and I do it. And then I see the event videos that you could never put in a poster. If you get somebody that doesn't have that generation and see somebody else watching, they will ask, how do you see that? And then they learn. Or if they miss it, your poster is still effective. I think that's the key of using technology in rec, is that it should not be obtrusive. And I'm taking the director's word. If you create anything that is on the technology that will make the person, the visitor, regardless their demographic, to say, oh my God, I don't want to go there, you are wrong. So if you make a digital savvy poster that has a QR code, which is baby augmented reality, really basic, that is a step forward. And if you have a lot of visitors, like when you have alumni reunion, then you can create an educational poster. Hey, our facility is digitally augmented. To scan a QR code, just take your camera, point at it, and click on the link. Try on this, and then you start putting pictures, and then they get excited. So when eventually you reach them with a mailing and you have something, and then you have your QR code for your giving site, then they know what is it, and they're going to get excited, take the camera, click. Oh, okay, yeah, I can put $5 on it. Oh, I can make a pledge. Oh, I can make an endowment. And I think that's what we need to start, teaching the technology integration little by little.
And I think that you said it best, because it's not just the QR code. It is the video emails that we could send. It is the postcards. It is the letter. I think that all the means of marketing are still important because we have all different populations. But this is just, again, for us, something to explore and see for hardly any cost, the possibilities. Great question, Anthony. Anybody else? Well, we're right at 3 o'clock. I want to say thank you. It was great to hear all the information and to share, and to be a part of this. I appreciate NIRSA in facilitating these roundtables and giving the opportunity for the folks across the country to collaborate and share. So thanks so much. Edwin, what about you?
Oh, thank you very much. Especially, my thanks to Missy for always guiding me into another crazy venture, and for NIRSA to facilitate. As a non-sport person, it's great to see you all, and I really appreciate everything and all the knowledge that you guys have. So good luck. If you ever need us, just let us know.
Big thanks to Nick too, who behind the scenes given us the ins and outs as well. So,
Yes.
best of luck to all of you. I hope that we're all back in our facilities. We're all I love it. It's Friday.
If there's not a dog in the Zoom, it's not a Zoom.
Yes. We're back in action and really getting to engage in person soon. So thank you. We appreciate it.